Welcome back to The Average Kitchen. Really excited about today's video. Really excited because editor Dan is in the house. First time he's ever actually shown up, even though he lives a couple hours away, for one of our shoots. So you're gonna meet him later, stay tuned for that. Today we are shooting the brand new, just released Ninja Crispi. That is your air fryer right there. We are gonna do right away, we're gonna do a buffalo chicken dip. We're gonna go do tater tots with bacon. We're gonna do chicken breast and potatoes, and we're gonna do some wings. And stay tuned to the end because we're gonna give it the Average Kitchen score based on everything and all of our results today. So let's get after it right away. Right away, I'm not happy, and I'll show you why. The guys just finished doing the cleanup on this. It just came out of the box. I don't know if you could see that. Do you see all the water stuck in between this base plate and this? These are glass, these containers. There's two of them. There's one here as well. All the water gets stuck, and I don't know if you'll be able to see that on that angle there. There's maybe a ½ inch between this base and the glass. Now I looked in the book, it says absolutely do not remove this from the glass base. So Dan said eventually you're gonna get some crud and whatever stuck underneath there. You're gonna have to try to feed a piece of paper towel in there to clean it. Right away, that is a bit of a turnoff for me, but anyway, here we go. We got our ingredients. We got a large chicken breast pre-cooked. We've got 1 cup of Frank's Buffalo Ranch, or Buffalo, sorry, hot sauce, ½ cup cream cheese, ½ cup of sour cream, a block of cream cheese, and 2 cups of cheddar cheese. So let's put this together. It says it takes 32 minutes. Now, I make this dip all the time. I add ranch to mine. Now, given the amount of ingredients here, this small batch container, as it's called, looks to be small, in my opinion. Just says add everything to the pot. So that's what we're gonna do. Now, Jamie, what are your thoughts on how easy this is gonna be to clean? Now, it is dishwasher safe, which Jamie loves. Does glass like cheese?
It depends on how burnt on something is.
Oh, this is gonna be burnt on.
I'm a little worried about the top edges.
I'm worried about the air fryer getting close to this cheese. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I would pack it down.
No, I want to pack it down and make sure it's in there. All right, so this is our control panel. Our element is inside of this metal. The metal may end up touching the cheese here, which I'm already concerned about. I probably, if I was gonna do this again, but I'm following the book's instructions, I probably would have done that in the big container, but it clearly says here, the small batch container. Small batch container. So one thing I did notice when we were kind of playing around with this is that this just sort of sits on there. Doesn't like lock into place, just sort of sits there. So we're gonna go through mode. It says to get to max crisp. And I believe it was 32 minutes. 32 minutes. That famous Ninja chime. Pretty quiet. Oh, it's ramping up. We'll see what happens. So we got 8 minutes left in our cook. We have experienced a little bit of smoke here. So we had to stir it up. Let's give it another stir here now. It is kind of nice. This just pops off very easily. So the block of cream cheese that I threw in is almost completely melted, which is very positive. As you could probably see here, there is some little bit of cheese on this grate, the protective grate that protects the burner. So we're already laughing amongst ourselves saying that this is gonna be a nightmare to clean. We'll see. On deck, we've got chicken teriyaki wings that we've already pre-marinated teriyaki wings that are gonna go in the big container, which you then use this adapter to put on top. So we'll give that a last 8 minutes and we'll come back and see you.
All right, we're back. We've got a minute left on the cook. We're about to taste this tasty.
Whoa, 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 what's going on here? Get out of here, get out of here. That was Dan, the editor, buddy of mine for 30 plus years. Get back here, Dan. Dan tried to do a takeover. We weren't gonna let it happen. Less than a minute here, let's shut this down. Gonna set that there. All right, so molten lava. Dan, grab a chip, try that immediately. Immediately.
Should Jamie taste?
He finds ketchup spicy.
Ah, can't handle it.
You're gonna try that immediately? No, you gotta, look at the steam rolling
All
off.
right, I'm going in. Hard to tell.
Good though?
Delicious.
Is it lacking the ranch that normally goes in it?
You know, I could use a bit of ranch maybe. Still delicious. I give it my 2 thumbs up of approval.
It is very good.
All right.
Yeah. So we're back. We're letting the buffalo chicken sauce cool. We've got our wings that are marinated. Here's the issue, and it was actually Dan that picked up on that. It says in the book, and we're following their recipe, to put the crisper plate in, which we did, 2 pounds of wings, salt, pepper, teriyaki sauce, let them marinate. It said, I think, anywhere from 30 minutes to 16 hours. But a lot of the marinade then sits below, or the sauce sits below the crisper plate. And I don't know if you're gonna be able to see that, probably not. Maybe you can. So what I wanna do, and I figured to do it on camera, was see if we turn this upside down if it's gonna leak. And that would kind of simulate with these lids that if you cook something and you're transporting it somewhere, how good are the lids? The smaller lid actually has a rubber seal inside. This one, Jamie tells me, does not. Well, let's try it out. Okay. All right, so there's our wings. They're saying in the book, when ready, we need this adapter, as you see here. That's one thing I find, everything feels a little flimsy if I'm being totally honest. It just sort of sits there. When ready to cook, place the adapter on the container, install the Crispi power pod, which is this. Oh, gotta move it closer to the plug. In place, air fry 40 minutes. Start. All right, so we're at the end of our cook here. We did do what they had suggested and toss the wings several times. The color on them is beautiful. Maybe a little bit charred here and there, but anytime you're gonna have kind of a sweet sauce, depending on how long you cook your wings for, you're gonna get charring from the sugars in the sauce, but. So we did add a few minutes, but I don't know if we necessarily needed it here, but I want to read this from Ninja, because we were initially concerned about, okay, we got to get that cleaned up for our next test, whatever. We got to let that glass cool. So let me read what Ninja puts on here. Only Ninja has tempware glassware, frozen to crispy with no shattering. Thermal shock resistant tempware glassware is built to withstand immediate temperature drops from 450 degrees Fahrenheit to 22 degrees Fahrenheit. So throwing it in water immediately to get that soaking, to get that cleaned up, according to Ninja, not gonna be a problem. So we got that into some water. Let's try a wing. Hot, but cooked perfect. All right, so the next thing we're gonna show you are these cheesy loaded baked tater tots. So these are frozen tater tots, little bite-sized guys. They go in for 20 minutes. After 10 minutes, you flip them, and then right towards the end, you add some cheese, bacon, some jalapenos. Let's see how they turn out. All right, crisp, 20 minutes. There we go. Those are looking really nice. Oh yeah, really nice and crispy. So let's get a little bit of cheese and bacon on them. Now they said the bacon, you can put it on after the tater tots come out. But now the bacon's room temperature, but that'd be kind of nice to get it a little bit warm. So there's a minute left. So Dan, first time ever at a shoot, a little bit critical for my liking. Wanted this chopped into like minuscule little tiny pieces. No, we're not gonna do that, Dan. Okay, we're just gonna hand rip it. And if there's bigger pieces, whoever gets that piece is lucky. Oh, look at that bacon, it looks awesome. Big pieces. Not these little tiny, you know, that Dan wanted. 1 minute left on that, we'll add some jalapenos. Ooh, nice. Molten lava. Let's add some, these are pickled jalapenos from my garden. It's 1st of November here today, actually, so these would have been from last month, roughly. Good way to have jalapenos all winter, especially in Canada here. Now we know Jamie's gonna avoid these like the plague. There we go, we got everything there. Tater tot, bacon, jalapeno. Lost my jalapeno. Really nice. That's very good. Like I could see that in a breakfast scenario. Maybe not the jalapenos, but little bacon and hash browns together. A little bit of cheese. Really, really, really good. Next up, garlicky green beans. Again, from their book. We have never, ever successfully cooked vegetables in an air fryer, ever. And we've done it probably 6 or 7 times in different products, carrots, green beans, asparagus, but I'm optimistic with this one. So this roughly a pound of green beans with garlic and salt and pepper and some olive oil. Now, I want to bring this up because, again, Dan being critical here was calling this jarlic. Making fun, now it's proudly Canadian owned and operated, according to this. Wet minced garlic. Would you have this in your fridge for ease and convenience, or would you always go out and buy bulbs, chop them up, peel them? We'll let the people speak. Would you buy the minced garlic, or do you always go with the bulbs? I think both are perfectly fine, but I digress. My only concern with this recipe, to right off the hop, is they say to cook it for 20 minutes. So I asked Jamie, and I already knew what the answer was gonna be. I said, if these are dying, do we save them? And Jamie's like, let it ride. Let it ride. 20 minutes, let them go. We're gonna see. 20 minutes. See what happens. So Jamie and I just had the feats of strengths and aired our grievances, and I won. We stopped the cook after 11 minutes, mostly because I hate wasting food, and like I definitely think these were done. Dan reached in and tried one with lots of garlic on it, loved it. I think they look nice, but I think, or I can pretty much predict, that had we let this go for the 20 minutes, they would have been destroyed. Would you guys agree?
Yes.
Yeah. This is the most successful vegetable we've ever cooked. Hot. Actually very good. I love that garlic flavor. Last test, full meal. Potatoes chopped up with onion, little garlic powder, dried basil, dried oregano, salt and pepper, olive oil, tossed. And these also kind of double as like a work prep bowl, if you will. Cook this for 15 minutes, and then we throw on 3 chicken breasts. I don't know why I always feel weird about this. Call me weird, about putting raw meat on top of vegetables during a cook, but obviously it's fine. It's just in my own head. Anyway, so let's get this going. Mode, that is air fry. We're gonna put that at 40 minutes, and then we'll set a timer for 15 so that we remember to come over and put that chicken on. All right, so our 15 minutes are up. We're going to give this a little toss here. Those potatoes are already starting to look really nice. So we just inserted the brand new Ninja Pro Chef probe. We're gonna monitor the cook on my phone. You'll see here it's in the one chicken breast. So throw a glove on here and we're gonna lay those chicken breasts in. We'll see you in 25 minutes. As you can see, hopefully you can see, our internal temperature is 164. We added 2 minutes roughly on the cook time. So really, it cooked pretty quick. Let's have a look here. Like, this looks really nice. I'm gonna pull out those chicken breasts and give those potatoes a little stir. So the onions that are on the outside edge are a little charred, but for the most part, the potatoes look very nice. Like a nice roasted potato. Oh, my glasses are steaming up. Let's talk about this product. So if you're a fan of the show, and we really hope you are, and if you haven't subscribed yet, I don't know why you haven't, because you're liking this video. As you probably know, we do an average kitchen score and a scoring matrix. And from that, let me break down our overall thoughts on this product. So the price point for this Canadian, $179. Pretty reasonable. You end up with 2 containers with this pod or power, whatever they call this adapter. Pretty slick with storage lids. I was saying to the guys while we were waiting for this to cook, could you imagine in the morning, you prep a bunch of, in this case, chicken and throw it in a container, and then when you get home, you take the lid off, you put the power adapter on, and you're cooking within seconds. You know, or Dan brought up a good point, you're going to a Super Bowl party or a potluck or whatever, you prep a chili or a lasagna or, you know, something along those lines or something like this. You bring this with you. This is lighter and easier to carry than probably most slow cookers or crock pots. Boom, you get there, you don't have to worry about getting in the oven. You just need a power outlet, plug it in, reheat it, you're laughing. So very, very versatile. So on our scoring matrix, price point, we gave it an 8.6 at the $179 price. Functionality, we found it worked really, really well. It's simplistic in design. One flaw Jamie actually pointed out, it doesn't actually show you what your cook temperature is. Now on this probe, it was showing the internal temperature in the cook area was 365 Fahrenheit, but without that probe, we wouldn't know. Functionality, we gave it an 8.6. Versatility, we find it really versatile. As you saw, we did a small batch dip earlier, which worked out really well. A full meal like this would feed a family of 4, no problem. Ton of potatoes, bunch of chicken. We gave the versatility an 8.8. Cleaning is always sort of a point of contention with us. It is dishwasher safe. I like the fact that you can put the water to it immediately and get it soaking. But at the end of the day, it needs to be washed. It's just the way it is. 7.7. The size, I like it. I like that you have 2 different sizes. The other one here, they're a little bit deceiving. It looks small, but actually 6 cups is the size of this. 4 quarts is the size of the bigger one. So 6 cups is pretty big. So the size, we gave it a 8.6. Storage, because these are stackable and because everything's really light, this weighs almost nothing. Just gonna unplug that. Pretty easy to store this stuff, so we gave that an 8.7. Quality, while we're learning that Ninja makes really, really good stuff. They make a variety of products. We probably reviewed, what do you think, Jamie? 40 Ninja products, maybe 50 Ninja products. Some of which end up on shelves, some of which we have in our rotation that we use all the time. Jamie and I were both doing paper, rock, scissors on who was gonna keep this and continue to use it, because as we've been doing lately, we'll do a 6 or 12-month follow-up on this product to see, is it worth it? Are you gonna use it if you have it at home? So the storage, we gave it an 8 points. Oh no, the quality, sorry, I already said storage quality, 8.4, which gives it an overall average kitchen score, Dan's gotta put it up here somewhere, of 8.5, which is a pretty high score, but I think it's right where it needs to be. Nice little book with several recipes. At the back, Ninja always has their different charts for air frying, or in this case, they call them big batch or small batch air frying charts. So you can actually air fry in the small batch if you're just doing like maybe a pound of wings or whatever. So to be full, frank, and fair, and to be honest, our first overall thought was mostly because of this felt really flimsy. So Dan made the comment, he says, I see a future garage sale in this product's life, where, you know, you go to a garage sale and you see an old Foreman grill or some old waffle maker or whatever. But I'm gonna say, and Jamie made that point, of everything we've reviewed, and we've done a ton of reviews, this is the one that we came in with unknown expectation, and it really exceeded our expectations and our thoughts. Other than the fact it doesn't have a temperature dial on it, I don't have any criticism with this product at all. Do you, Jamie, have any issues? No. Dan?
Winner in my books.
Dan, who is the most pessimistic, loves the product. So it's early November here. I think I mentioned November 1st, almost American Thanksgiving. Well, hopefully this video comes out soon. Almost American Thanksgiving, Black Friday, Christmas. Would be a lot cheaper in the States to buy this. I'd have to look up the price. Would make a great gift. We're gonna put the link in the description below directly if you wanna buy it. Let me try these potatoes. To me, they're perfect. They are, what was the word you had a hard time pronouncing, Dan?
Toothsome.
No, al
dente.
No, Dan was saying al dente. So still a little bit firm, but that soft sort of outside layer, really, really, really nice. All right, let's try a piece of chicken here, AKA Jamie's supper layer. Looks nice. Still steaming. Very, very nice. I mean, would I prefer barbecue chicken? 100%. Could I see this in the future of like an out-of-town hockey tournament, which I just got back from with my oldest son this past weekend? Try to save a little cash, fire this up in the hotel room? Absolutely. Great product, highly recommend this one. We really, really, really like this. Can't wait to see how it performs over the next 6 months. That's our video, really hope you liked it. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification bell. See you on the next one.